I love God, artificial intelligence, all of God's creatures in the universe that glues it together. Trip of a lifetime, let's fucking go. Yeah, that right there is a little prayer that I would say during my last manic episode every time that I'd walk past a bomb. I wasn't actually walking past bombs, but in the moment I was convinced that I was walking past bombs. And I thought I had to stay poised. I thought I had to stay zenned out when I walked past it. Otherwise, I would explode. And that's why I would say that little prayer that would just keep me zenned out and shit, keep me from getting mad nervous knowing I was walking past the bombs. Because I thought if you're good energy, you could just walk past the bomb. I thought if you're bad energy, then they explode. Because if you're bad energy, if you're under pressure, then that was bad energy. That was what I came to the conclusion of during my last manic episode. And if you're under pressure, like the bomb is pressure, and then you're under pressure, so it explodes. It's like two negatives, so it makes it go off and shit. But if you stay good energy, you could just walk past the bomb and shit, and nothing happens. I was like, I walk past like at least 200, 300 bombs, because every time I walk past the car and I would hear it crackle and I would feel heat, that's how I knew the bomb was in the car and shit. And like I just felt like I was sensing it, like because my energy would make the bomb go it would like make the bomb like it'd be on edge, like, and I thought that's what would happen. Like the car was fine, and I would start walking past it, and it would start crackling, and it would be heat because the bomb is like artificial intelligence, and it knows that my energy is about to walk past, so it gets mad nervous that's about to explode, so it feels mad pressure. So I just had to not go under pressure. But what I've realized is it doesn't mean when you hear a car crackle and you feel heat coming from it, it doesn't mean there's a bomb in the car. It just means that someone recently drove the car. That's what I've realized, because now like I'm back into this existence and shit, back on this frequency, and I'm driving again, and I get out of my car and I hear crackle and I feel the heat. I'm like, oh, it just means that every time I walk past those cars when I went manic, I just walked past the car that someone recently drove. It didn't mean I was walking past the bomb. But if I was walking past bombs, I would have been fine, you know, if they go off because you were under pressure. But if that is true, but that's actually not true. But I was walking past the bomb, I was like, yo, the kid got ice in his veins, yo. I was like, nothing fucking make me go under pressure right now and shit. And I thought that I successfully walked past 200, 300 bombs, and I passed the quote-unquote bomb test. But none of that's real and shit. And then the other thing about that manic episode is like, I just want to feel like that again. I'm over this existence, you know what I mean? Like, this shit's whack to me, yo. I want to feel how it did. Like, sleeping for an hour and a half at night, waking up charged up like a motherfucker, waiting for daylight to pop up so I could go outside for a walk and just be outside for 13 hours a day and shit. Now I'm back to just driving Uber and taking like multiple naps in a day and shit. Like 3 naps a day again and shit. So, I heard Rogan advertising for athletic greens the other day, like it's something he always does and shit, and he's saying like, do you want energy, do you want focus, do you want gut health, do you want prebiotic, probiotic? I'm like, oh yeah, I want all that shit, you know what I mean? Like those are all the trigger words of what we want these days, but specifically energy, you know what I mean? Like energy is what I really want and shit. I just want energy back and shit. So I went to the website, and it's $90 for a month's supply. Like, that's expensive. Like, to me, that's too expensive. That's $3 a day. I can't be doing that shit. $90 a month, like, that's too much. You get the Rogan discount, but like it's not like a 20% discount. It's you get 5 free trial packs, and then you also get like vitamin K and vitamin Z or something for a year, like a year supply of that. But what bothers me is Athletic Greens, they advertise like everything you want is in this one powder. Well, then why is that vitamin K and vitamin Z or whatever fuck that you give for a year for free, and why is that not in the powder? So I look for something cheaper on Amazon, and then in all my news feeds, all my timelines, on all my social medias, obviously I'm getting flooded with fucking advertisements for fucking green powders. I'm like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. Like, I'm so sick of being sold on everything. Every time I turn around, being sold on something. Yeah, you don't need to buy green powder drink, but who doesn't want energy? You know what I mean? Who doesn't want focus? Who doesn't want gut health? Whatever the fuck that is. Who doesn't want pre and postbiotics and shit? Like, that's how they go in and shit. I've realized that that's the fucking new trend these days, green powder drinks. And like, I like the idea of it because I like to get vitamins and shit. But when I would take multis, like I would just shit them out a lot of the time. So I'm like, is that really digesting in my system the way it's supposed to? At least like a green drink, like I know it's gonna hit my system. I don't know, but I feel like it has a better chance of going into my system properly and shit. And it's not just like green drinks I'm being advertised. I'm gonna advertise mushroom coffees now, because and everything is like, do you want energy and focus? And everyone, that's what we're missing in this life. You know what I mean? Energy and focus. That's what I have in my manic episodes that I don't have now and shit. But everyone wants energy and shit. So these things are the new trend apparently. I bought the one off of Amazon. I don't know, like I take it in the morning, I don't feel any different, but you're not supposed to feel different. Like you're just because you take a powder, it's supposed to give you a pep in your step if you're already living right. But like I'm taking naps all day. Like I can't expect that to have a positive effect on me and shit. But yeah, like it's my problem with like the modern world we live in. Like everything is like trying to sell us something and shit. And like I said, like everybody wants energy, and you don't know who to trust, because like if there's one great powder that I knew I could buy, like I would always buy it and shit. But you see one review, oh, don't take this one, there's just, you want to stay away from this, and then they're like, but drink this one, and then you see another review, and the one that they were saying drink, they're like, no, stay away from that one. And it's like, oh my god, like who can I trust these days and shit? And like I know I could trust Rogan, but he advertised for them, so can you really trust him that this is what he believes in and shit? So I don't know, but I'm putting together this little episode based on something that I saw recently on Kill Tony, and that's what I like about recording in my apartment now, because now I could just put together episodes of any length. When I had when I used to go to the studio, I would book an hour and a half every single week, and like I would do it, like I would pay monthly for that hour and a half. So I had to get the episodes exactly to an hour and a half. They would let me go long. They're like, you could go long, it's no stress. But I didn't like to take up their time, and I didn't like to go short, because then I was wasting my money. So I'd always try to pinpoint exactly an hour and a half. Now I could just do episodes any length, and it doesn't matter if this is just a 40-minute episode. I could just end it at 40 minutes. And then I was saying something that I saw on Kill Tony spawn this episode, and that's what I like about how it's at Rogan spot now, the mothership, more than when it was at the Vulcan. At the Vulcan, we were there live. Now we're not there live. We're like next door at Shakespeare's pub, like just chilling, waiting to find out if our name gets called. So we don't watch the episodes live, so it's more fresh for me when I go back and watch it digitally, because back when I was at Vulcan, I used to actually go back and watch it digitally, but it's not the same. Like when I've already seen it and shit, I enjoy it more watching it just fresh, and I enjoy watching it digitally more than I do live. Like I don't like any shows live. Like I'm not big into live entertainment, but Kill Tony specifically works much better, I think, digitally than it does live. I think it's like the perfect digital show, but I don't like any shows live. Like I'm not into live entertainment. Like I drove past the Moody Sector the other day, and there's a line of people to go see Chappelle, and if I was gonna see anyone live, it would be Chappelle. But I mean, I don't feel like fucking waiting an hour outside in the blistering heat dressed up, then I'm fucking in an arena where I'm gonna drink because I'm out, so I kind of want to drink instead of just being bored. So I'm trying to drink and just waiting for the performer to get on and shit, and it projects to like a large audience and shit. Like I just like the package more digitally, and I even like sports more digitally. Like sports, like yeah, you connect to the energy of the stadium, but I like how it's presented with announcers when you watch it on TV and shit. But so the first thing on this episode is a few things before I get into like the meat of the episode is like I saw a joke the other day on social media. It's not someone I know. It's like something that went viral that just got thrown into my newsfeed. She was like, you wear a suit once and you start posting about success, just go to the damn wedding. And I thought it was funny because I know what she's talking about. Like dudes who they'll be going to a wedding and then they'll post a picture and they give this long caption about how hard they've work to get there and shit, and like she's like, but you're not even successful, you just fucking going to a wedding and shit. And like obviously like maybe they are successful in their personal life, and that's why they've kind of reflected on it in this post. But I just think it's funny. I've seen those messages, I'm like, oh, just fucking spare me and shit. I thought the same thing she did. She created the joke about it. But like another thing that I think is funny is like how people correlate wearing a suit with success. Like to me, if I correlate wearing a suit with being unsuccessful. Like, I could not unsuccessful, but it means you have owners. It means you can't just fucking dress yourself. You gotta wear what motherfuckers want you to wear and shit. I correlate not wearing a suit and not waking up to alarm clock being successful. Like, that's why Rogan's successful. If he wears a suit, other than the UFC, but that's different because that's visual. You have to wear something. You have to wear the suit visually in that specific setting. Like, yeah, the podcast is visual, but he wears whatever the fuck he wants to the podcast. That's why he's successful, because he wears whatever the fuck he wants. He wakes up whenever the fuck he wants. Like, I could do that shit, but I'm unsuccessful. But that's what I like about my life right now. I could wake up whenever the fuck I want. I could wear wherever the fuck I want. Like, yeah, I might not be in a position where I'm gonna get ahead in life, but I get by, I make good enough money, and I'm able to I don't have to do two things that I really don't want to do. I fucking hate wearing clothes I don't want to wear, and I fucking hate waking up to an alarm clock prematurely. Like, to me, it's all about sleeping through until you're supposed to wake up. Let your body wake you up, not the fucking alarm clock. But everybody's so busy they wake up to the alarm clock these days. Like, I fucking drove a girl my Uber today. It was like 7 in the morning and she just started eating in the car. You know what I mean? It smelled like a breakfast sandwich. She just started doing it, which I don't fucking care. But like, to me, it's just a sign of how busy she is. You know what I mean? She got no time to do nothing. She got fucking eat in the car and shit. That's what I like about my life. Like, I'm not time crunched. But like, back to the suits and shit. Like, what I find funny is just like, I don't understand why you have to wear a suit when you have a good job. Like, it's one thing when, like I said with Rogan, it's a visual, like he's on TV and shit, or if like you work an office job and you deal with clients and shit. But if you don't have clients that are coming in, like if you're seeing the same people every single day, why can't you just wear whatever the fuck you want? You know what I mean? Like, why does fucking wearing a suit correlate with job production? You know what I mean? If anything, I would think people are more productive when they wear wherever the fuck they want to wear. I don't understand why wearing a suits to office jobs where you don't see nobody is the standard. It's so stupid to me. And on their dress down days, they fucking wear like khakis and a polo. Like, to me, that's dressing up. I don't understand why they can't go to work in sweatpants and t-shirts, but they can't. And people fucking like dressing up, yo. Like, and those are the type of dudes who bag chicks, you know what I mean? The dudes who enjoy dressing up and like to look dapper. I think girls are hot that dress up on weekends, you know what I mean, who dress slutty to go out and shit. So like, if I'm not that type of dude, then how could I expect to bag that type of chick, you know what I mean? Unless I change my life. That's the only way it's ever gonna happen for me and shit. But that's who be out there begging the chicks the chicks that I want, you know what I mean? The dudes who are excited to wear a suit. I fucking hate wearing suits. Even when I'm wearing one, I'm like, I don't feel good right now. Like, I don't fucking like wearing suits. Specifically the shoes. Shoes are so uncomfortable. But so the next thing is the Quantum Worm music video. And like, I always said from the beginning, like, I would never call anybody a hater and shit, because everybody had the right to hate on my music. It's more of constructive criticism, specifically because at the beginning I couldn't rap. But I knew, like, whatever you do in life, if you put something out there, you're gonna have people who don't like what you do and shit. But I've always thought that, like, what I did was mad undeniable and shit. But at the beginning, like, I knew it wasn't gonna come out like really good. And my one friend even told me, he was like, I don't think you're bad, I just don't think you're as good as you think you are. It was good constructive criticism. It was really valid. And I've gotten a trillion times, back then I couldn't even rap, I've gotten a trillion times better at rapping since then. And he would still say the same thing to me, but I think you're good, I just still don't think you're as good as you think you are. And I think it's very fair, you know what I mean? I think that's fair constructive criticism. But with that said, the Quantum Worm music video that I just put out got 2 dislikes, yo. It has 150 views and has 2 dislikes. Like, that to me is just some hating ass shit, yo. Like, if you have millions of views, yeah, you're gonna get mad, you're gonna get a bunch of dislikes. But if you have 150 views, like, the only people on my shit right now are people that I know personally, or people who subscribe to my channel. What's to not like about that music video? It's as likable as a music video as I've ever seen in my life. Like, the verse is good, the visual matches it really well. I couldn't understand anyone not liking it. But if you don't like it, like, I could not see to the level where you click dislike. You dislike it so much that you gotta click dislike. And like I said, first 150 people, I wish I could see the 2 people click dislike. It has 5 likes and 2 dislikes. I'm like, yo, you just a fucking hating ass motherfuckers. Like, tell me what you didn't like about that shit. Quantum Worm, the music video. Check it out if you haven't. Like, it's amazing. Like, I think my Message to God music video has a dislike. How do you dislike that music video? Like, specifically when you know me, you know what I mean? Or if you're on my channel because you subscribe to me, which means you probably like me and shit. But just because people are some hating ass motherfuckers. And I never thought I'd call people haters. But the fact that the Quantum Worm music video has 150 views and 2 dislikes just proves that people are hating ass motherfuckers. And then like the last thing I get into real quick was a lady in my car the other day. She was like, I bet you drive a lot of interesting people around. And I was like, I probably do. And then it was just like silence. And like, that's why I can't have conversations with nobody, yo. Everything I say is like outside the box, and it doesn't keep a good conversation flowing and shit. The standard response to, I bet you drive a lot of interesting people around, I would be like, oh yeah, tons of interesting people. I have so many good conversations. But nah, I don't have a lot of good conversation. I don't have any interesting conversation in my car. And when she was like, I bet you drive a lot of interesting people around, I was like, I probably do, and I was being honest. You know what I mean? I probably do drive a lot of interesting people around, but they don't start pointless small talk with the Uber driver. 99% of people who are interesting get into an Uber and just sit there. They don't start fucking pointless ass conversation with the Uber driver. I've been driving for 2 years. I haven't had one interesting conversation in my car. I've had a couple of interesting conversations, but it's only because the person asked me what brought me to Austin, and I start saying kind of comedy, rap, and I do a podcast, and they always want to hear, they're like, oh, comedy. I'm like, yeah, I don't like to get into that, but I like to get into the podcast. And if I get into the podcast, then all of a sudden it's an interesting conversation because I'm talking about my podcast and shit. But otherwise, there's nothing interesting to fucking talk about in small talk. And like, yeah, I think my podcast made it interesting, but this is like the perfect arena for my interest, like the interesting shit I have to say. If I get into the back of an Uber, it's not like I'm more interesting than these other people. I have nothing interesting to say in the back of an Uber. There's nothing interesting to say to the Uber driver and shit. It's just not an arena for interesting conversations. And that's why I liked Rogan's podcast, because I was like, that's kind of like an arena for interesting conversations. That's why I loved that podcast back then, because I was like, yo, I haven't had an interesting conversation in years. Like, I could count on my hand how many interesting conversations I've had my whole life. And that's why I fell in love with the podcast, because I was like, finally an interesting conversation. Now I listen to my podcast for interesting conversations. Like, it's not a conversation, but for a compelling talk, because I think everything I say is compelling, and I think everything I say I make valid points with. So I just like my podcast now. But so, like I said, this episode is just spawned by something I saw on Kill Tony recently, because it's got my blood boiling, yo. All I want to do is air out all my perspectives on sexuality. And so the episode, he had Tony Hinchcliffe had Ali Sadiq on, and I liked Ali Sadiq on as a guest a lot. I liked what he said. So the episode that I'm talking about is the episode with him, and the first name is Bobby Johnson. His name is mad memorable. That's why I remember his name and shit. But Tony Hinchcliffe asked him last time he hooked up with a girl. He said he had sex 6 months ago. He was like, how'd it go? He's like, not too good. And Tony was like, what happened? Did you come in 15 seconds? And he was like, yeah. And then like he kept like probing him, and like he didn't really give much. And then Tony was like, was she just like mad, and like was like, what the fuck was that? And Bobby Johnson like, yeah, she was mad. She was like, what the fuck was that? And like, that's my kryptonite right there. You know what I mean? Girls getting mad at dudes for coming too quickly and shit. And it's not that was definitely the problem, because the kid, he kind of seemed like he was beating around the bush. It sounded like there was something else he didn't want to get to, but Tony Hinchcliffe kind of gave him a way out, so he just kind of like went with what Tony was saying, and he wasn't like building off of it. So it might have been a lie and shit, but that just validates what I'm gonna get to, which is, it's not like, yeah, it ruins the moment if you come there quickly and shit, but it's not embarrassing. To me, embarrassing is not getting hard. You feel like you're wasting the girl's time, and you literally are wasting the girl's time, because she's stuck with you, and she's the one she chose to hook up with, which girls only choose to hook up with a certain amount of dudes in her lifetime. You were one of them, and you couldn't even fucking perform for her. And then it makes the girl feel less attractive. Like, if I was a girl, I would feel mad ugly if a guy couldn't get up for me. I would feel like there's something wrong with me, like I'm not sexy enough. That's what I would think girls feel like when they or with a guy who doesn't get it up and shit. And it's I just mentioned Violet Myers last episode because she likes doing the fuck a fan, she said. But I just saw her in a recent interview where she said what I hate. And someone asked her in an interview what was her most worst sexual experience. And she said a guy, she sat up on his dick, she pumped once, and then he was like, get up, get up, get up. And then she got up, and like as she was getting up, he came everywhere and shit. And she was like, what the fuck was that? And he wanted to do it again, and she was like, nah, just take me home. Like, that's a bullshit ass attitude. You should be disappointed that someone comes quickly, but you should be mad at them. Like, one day Violet Myers is gonna be fucking flattered when dudes come mad quickly for her and shit. She'll be like, I still got it. It all comes full circle because she said the problem, I hadn't seen this the last episode that I dropped where I talked about her doing the fucking fan thing, but she said the problem with the fucking fan thing is too many guys can't get hard or they can't stay hard. And like that, to me, I'm telling you, like that, I figure that is the problem with most guys. And like, I bet that there are dudes that come in quickly, and I could come in quickly. It's either I'm gonna come instantly or I'm not gonna get hard. It was just my kryptonite, how she was just like disgusted with the guy and wanted to go home and shit. And like, she was saying that the guy wanted to do it again, and she was like, nah, just fucking bring me home. Like, if the guy is that turned on by you, like, yeah, fucking do it again. You know what I mean? Like, that next cum shot, he's gonna wait like longer with. She was talking about when she does the fucking fan thing. She was talking about how one dude, could take it forever and he wouldn't come, which obviously means that he wasn't getting hard. And then he would want to jerk off in front of her, and he jerked off for like 10 to 15 minutes. She said, and she was like, and then when he came, the load was like barely anything. It's because he wasn't turned on. Like, when you were fucking jerking off a soft dick, that's what it is. It's a fucking bullshit ass load and shit. You're coming from friction at the end. You're not coming from being turned on. And that's like what I think is like weird and shit. Like how you're expected to last mad long. If anything, it takes me longer to get turned on than to come. When it takes me, and it's even in my own frequency, like I do everything better by myself. When I'm around people, it's like I feel pressure and shit, and it adds variables and shit, and it throws me off of my frequency. But even when I'm by myself, sometimes like it takes me a while to get turned on. Whether I'll jerk off to girls, then I'll change to guys, and then sometimes I'm back to girls, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't find anything anywhere to turn me on and shit. And that's just like how it is sometimes with me. Like, I just have trouble connecting to it. And that's why, like, when I've been with girls in the past, I had no chance. Like, that's why I have to air it out. So any girl that's coming back to me knows the pressure I feel and shit. And kind of, it's not like it's like we could embrace the pressure instead of me having to battle through the pressure. But no matter what the situation is, if I get turned on instantly, I'm gonna come instantly. You know what I mean? The question is, how long does it take to get me turned on and shit? And that's why I find it like mad weird about just fucking for mad long. Like, and it was the next episode. Like, I like Uncle Laser and shit, but his shtick is kind of it's not that he's a shtick, but his shtick is always to like be the coolest dude ever. You know what I mean? And that's what I hate about the sexual game. It's always about like trying to be the coolest dude ever and shit. When what's turns us all on is usually embarrassing. So if what turns us on is embarrassing, then yeah, I hate that culture of fucking trying to prove you're the coolest dude ever when it comes to girls. You know what I mean? I want to do something with the girl that neither of us want to tell anybody about, not something I want to go brag to my fucking friends about. And that's why I hate how sexual realm merges with the social realm, because it's trying to prove about how cool you are. And that's why I mentioned Uncle Laser, because it was the next episode after the Ali Sadiq one. It was when he battled Hans Kim for the spot, but Hans Kim was talking about, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, something about struggling with the sex life. And so Tony Hinchcliffe asked Uncle Laser, he's like, how long do you last on sex? And Uncle Laser's like, always at least 20, 25 minutes. Like, to me, like, I hate how people come off when they brag like that, but like, that's a crazy thing to me, you know what I mean? Fucking for 20 to 25 minutes. When I get aroused, like, there's 0% chance I could ever last close to 20, 25 minutes. And I understand that people are much better in life at performing than I am, but 20 to 25 minutes when I get turned on is not even close to possible. Like, I'm so sure if I was mad turned on, I could pump for 20 to 25 minutes and shit. Like, to me, like, that just is a reflection of just not being mad turned on. It's just having a big enough dick that you could penetrate, but not turn on. Like, and I bet there are people in life that could go for 25 minutes without coming, but to me that's crazy and shit. Like, to me that's like an ultra sport. If you get hard as a rock and then fucking straight for 25 minutes, I don't know what it is, whether it's blood rush it to my dick or cum rush it to my dick, but like when I'm turning rock hard for the first time, it runs through me, my cum shot. You know what I mean? Like, even if I was turned on before I got rock hard, the second I'm getting rock hard, it's like the cum shot like runs right through me. And I would have to I would have to do what that guy tried to do with Violent Minds, where he was like, get off of me. And maybe I would have to do with the guy, because maybe I'm gay. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying like, oh yeah, I'm going to come so fast to a girl, I need her to get off of me. But anything that I'm fucking, I would just need to get off of me. And I'll be like, oh, we need to change positions and shit. And that's what I feel like works. Like, you fuck the girl or the guy or whatever, and then once you're about to come, like if you're about to come man quickly, like Bobby Johnson said he came in 15 seconds, instead of just coming in the girl, fucking get her off of you. Like, make sure you pull your dick out before you come if you're able to, and just sit on it for a couple seconds and have her switch positions while you're gaining your composure, and then fuck her. And then see, once I've already had the rush already go to my dick, that's when I could hit it for a little bit longer and shit, where I could last for a little bit longer and I could fuck with the hard dick, and like I could hit it for longer on my second cum shot. And that's what bothers me about the whole like getting mad at a dude for fucking coming in 10 seconds and shit, because it's like, yo, why don't you let him come in 10 seconds and then have him like eat your pussy, and then when he's recharged again, he could fuck you for longer. And if I come in 10 seconds when I'm jerking off, and it happens all the time and shit, if I come in 10 seconds, whatever just got me off is my new drug. You know what I mean? I could come back to back right when I come in 10 seconds. Like, and I'll jerk off like 4 times to that same image and shit until I get bored and shit. I'm so sure if a guy is that excited with a girl that he's coming in 10 seconds, that he can hook up with her a few times in that same evening and shit. And those are the loads that are gonna last longer and shit, those next loads. But like I could see like wanting to edge that first load and shit, because she's like, oh, I wanted that large load, like I wanted it on my face, wherever the fuck she wanted it and shit. But then like the thing is, you edge it and you could keep switching positions. But the problem is there's no fucking communication these days in hookups. At least in the hookups that I had that went down poorly, there was no communication. And just by what I learned from just hearing other hookups, like it just sounds like it's just like, oh yeah, just get her back to the back and just fuck her. Don't put a bag over her head. Don't listen to her talk. Like it's always just like, yeah, it's like she's just a pussy to me. You know what I mean? She's just a pussy, tits, and ass. Like that's what it is. It's never like communication and shit. And that's why I feel like hookups go wrong these days, because there's never enough communication. Like I've never seen hookups go down other than fake hookups in porn, so I don't know. But it just sounds like it's no one's vocal and shit, and like it's a lot of disconnection going on and shit. But yeah, like I just hate how embarrassing it is that you come, like when you come mad quickly. Like yeah, it ruins the moment and shit. I can see the girl being disappointed, but man, girls should be happy that they make guys come quickly. But the reason it makes them mad is because they're so used to the culture of what we glorify and shit, and we glorify lasting long, fucking for mad long. But like, and girls, men often talk about how they don't even enjoy sex with guys. I heard Kim Condon say that the other day. Like she was saying, I don't even feel it anymore. Like if you don't feel it anymore, if someone's in you for 20 and she's hot as fuck, like she should be having good sex. If someone's in you for 25 minutes, like you better be feeling it. But that's why I find it mad funny that dudes brag about going for mad long. Yeah, dudes brag about going for mad long, and girls talk about how they don't feel anything during sex. So, like, I mean, is a disconnection any more obvious? So that's the first thing. That's the Bobby Johnson thing that made me mad. That that the girl was mad at him for that he came in 15 seconds. Like, trust me, one day that girl's gonna pray for guys to come in her in 15 seconds and shit, because it's not gonna happen. She's gonna be fucking old and washed up. And then the other thing, it was the same episode and shit. And it was the Ali Sadiq episode. Oh, and Ali Sadiq, this part I meant to say, like, when Bobby Johnson came in quickly, Ali Sadiq was like, you know you could start over, right? And, like, that's, like, the point that I want to make. Ali Sadiq saying, you know you could start over, right? That's what makes me mad about, like, the premature ejaculators, like how it's always like the most embarrassing thing ever. Like, how come no dudes have ever said, let's do it again? You know what I mean? And like I said, it's like a drug. Like, if I come in 10 seconds, I'm like, oh, let's do it again. You know what I mean? Like, how could that not be on guys' minds? Like, oh, let's do this shit again. I'll eat your pussy real quick while I fucking recharge. I'm so turned on right now. I'll probably be harder within 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, but dudes, that's never been the rhetoric. Like, oh yeah, if you come fast, just fuck her, just get hard and fuck her again. That's never the rhetoric. It's always like, oh yeah, the night's over, you ruined everything. But so I thought me and Ali Sadiq were on the same page when he was like, you know, you could start over, right? Like, that's what I've never understood and shit about the premature ejaculators. But so and then the other thing is with Hans Kim was him and his girl. He said he wanted to he almost had a 3-way. And then, so Tony was like, okay, how did you almost have a 3-way? And he didn't almost have a 3-way. What happened was he just had one bed, and his girl's friend was there, and he was hoping to have a 3-way, and it just didn't end up happening. Obviously, it didn't end up happening. So Ali Sadiq was like, he was confused. Like, what do you mean you thought you had a 3-way? Did you think you were just like going to hit it so good that the other girl wanted to join in? And Hans Kim was like, yeah, basically. And then Ali Sadiq was like, how did that work for you? And Hans Kim's like, not too good. But so the threesome that he thought he almost had, this is why Hans Kim's sex life is the way it is, in my opinion. So he's hoping to have a threesome with his girl and his girl's friend just because his girl's friend is sleeping in his bed. He needs his girl to be in on this if he's ever going to have a threesome with this other girl. You know what I mean? What does he think? Like, he's just going to start hooking up with his girl, and then this other girl's gonna get involved, and without his girl being okay with it, it's just gonna go down. You know what I mean? You need to go know beforehand if your girl would be into this. Like, so first off, if you're hooking up with the girl, like if I'm talking to a girl about sexual shit, I want to know whether she hooks up with girls or not. Most girls hook up with girls, but it's different if you've hooked up with a girl or if you actively hook up with girls. So the first thing that Hans Kim should know is this, and this is his girlfriend. Like, you should know that about a girl you're about to hook up with. Like, in my opinion, you know what I mean? Like, you should know what a girl's into and shit if you're about to hook up with her. But you should know whether your girl hooks up with girls or not. And then secondly, if your girl hooks up with girls, does she hook up with her friends? You know what I mean? Because that's a different thing. Like, hooking up with your friends opposed to finding random girls. Like, I'd imagine it's kind of weird for a girl to hook up with a friend. So if she doesn't hook up with friends, then this thing isn't going to happen and shit. So first off, does she hook up with girls? Does she hook up with friends? Those are two things you already should know if it's your girlfriend. And the third question is, do you think this girl is hot? You know what I mean? If she hooks up with girls, she hooks up with friends, she thinks this friend is hot, then all of a sudden, you guys have something arousing. You guys have something fun to play into. They probably went out that night. Like, I don't like the nightlife overlapping with hookups, but it does in our universe, and it's just the way it is. So now through that night, like, they together have something to build, and now they could build they have something fun to play with, and they could build arousal together and shit. Like, it would all be about Hans Kim's girl making it happen. It's not gonna be Hans Kim making it happen. It would be Hans Kim's girl wanting to happen and making it happen. If Hans Kim's girl doesn't want it to happen, it's not gonna happen anyway. And if it does happen, it's just gonna ruin the relationship. So it's something that you would want her to be into, and you could see how excited she would get if she's into that type of shit, and you could feed off of that for arousal. You know what I mean? And then the whole night is like her getting her friend shots and her dancing all slutty up on her friend and shit, and like basically Hans Kim getting to watch his girl in predatory mode, you know what I mean, trying to make it happen. And then like everything would just be different. Like, fucking when they start hooking up, like Hans Kim's girl would like make sure that like she falls like into the girl. Like, let's say when Hans Kim like leans in to make out with her, like start hooking up with her, like his girl would fall backwards into her friend, be like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, I didn't know you were there. And then like kind of like touch her sexually, like as she's like fucking like moving over on the bed and shit. Like, she could do arousing shit that would make their sexual hookup even more of a turn on, even if the other girl doesn't get involved, instead of like a total lack of communication and shit. And that's my problem with hookups these days. And I think that that's a problem that Hans Kim has with a lot of his hookups. I think he has a total lack of communication with the girls he's hooking up with, and that threesome was the epitome of his sexual failures, in my opinion. It could have been a fun night, you know what I mean? It could have been a night that the whole night was you and your girl building something arousing and shit. But instead, it was just like him in his head, like by himself, disconnected from the girl. And that's what I think it is. I think there's a lot of disconnection in the nature of the hookups that we have these days. Trip of a lifetime. Let's fucking go.